Has God ever given you an idea, and before you gave him time to tell you all he wanted you to do, you started sharing the little bit that you knew? Well, that's exactly what I did when I ended season 1 of Words for Life. I'm your host, Terrence Farrell, aka T Farrell, and welcome to the new season. This is going to be an amazing season, if I do say so myself. And yes, now I have a bit more clarity than I did when I shared the new direction in the season finale. If you haven't already noticed, we've changed the name to Words for Levites. Our focus is going to be on providing helpful conversations for the modern day Levites. Now, just to give a quick definition of Levites, the Levites were one of the tribes of Israel from the Old Testament, and they were responsible for music, ministerial duties, and maintenance of the temple. We consider modern day Levites to be leaders and potential leaders that identify as Christians, followers of Christ. Of course, if you're not a modern day Levite, you'll still benefit from this podcast. We just named it Words for Levites so that if you are a modern day Levite, this title will let you know that this podcast was designed specifically for you. Now, for our very first episode of this new season, our special guest is Angel Martinez. Now, today we're going to discuss letting success be a byproduct of service. Angel is one of the partners of a Second Chance Bail Bonds. He's also a former gang member. He's a father of 7, a youth coach, and a community activist. I want you to walk away from this conversation understanding that if you focus on serving people rather than providing a service or a product, you will experience success and not just monetary success. But without further ado, let's jump into the conversation that I had with Angel Martinez. Angel, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. I appreciate you having me.
No problem, man. I appreciate you making the time, man. So now, I mentioned that you're a partner at a bail bonds company. Real quick, for those that might be unfamiliar, what does a bail bonds company do?
So the long and short of it is, the court requires a certain amount of money to be paid for someone to be released from jail. It's called a surety. So we, in fact, come in and pay the full amount for that defendant, and then they pay us a 10% fee, and then the court holds our check, so to speak, of the full amount of the bond, and then once the person completes their court case, we're refunded our money, and the 10% that the defendant had paid, that is how we make our profit. So in turn, really, in essence, what we're doing is we're providing a loan for people to be able to get out of jail, because not everybody has $10,000 or $100,000 to get out. So we leverage our property and our bank accounts to be able to provide that service for people at a fee of 10%.
Gotcha. And now, how is Second Chance Bail Bonds different from other bail bonds companies?
I would just say that we are not just looking to the monetary side of things. We do collect the 10% just like every other bail bonds company. However, we are looking to work with people through the court process. So not just getting you out of jail, thanks for your cash, see you later. We're getting them out of jail. We're identifying the needs for each individual defendant. And helping meet those needs, whether it's helping find resources to get bills paid, helping find resources to get food on the table, to keep a roof over their head, to find employment, whether it's drug treatment, mental illness, whatever need they have, we pull in all the resources that we have access to and try to meet that for the person, because the recidivism rate for people returning to jail is outrageous, and we feel like we're a part of this. We're a part of a broken system that just keeps putting people in the same position to where they're basically set up for failure, and they're basically guilty before they're proven innocent. So a lot of people repeat the cycles that they're in because they don't have the resources. You know, they have to steal to make ends meet. They have to sell drugs to make ends meet. Those are the only options that are there for them. So how can we come alongside, present different options, as well as, and most importantly, making sure that the victim in certain cases has their day in court, and making sure that people are honoring their commitments. So that it's accountability on our end, on the court side of things, but we're different because we do bail bonds different. We're trying to address the heart of people and the conditions of the heart, as opposed to just taking their money, seeing them later.
Right. And when I read that, or when I did research and found out that your company digs a little deeper than just, hey, we provide a service, thank you for your money, hope I don't see you again. If I do, we're here, kind of a nonchalant attitude. And the whole service side of it, or let me just say the whole caring for people, some might look at that as it's counterproductive to business. It's like, hey, you're spending way more time than you need to. All you do is just get the next person in, get the 10%, get the next person in 10%, and make sure your books are balanced and things like that. Where did this whole ministry thing start for you?
For me, on the bail bond side of things, is that what you're asking?
No, you know what? Let's start personally, and then we'll get to the bail bonds part of it.
The ministry side of everything started for me was working with kids. I'm an ex-drug addict, ex-gang member. And so my son, it come time for him to play football, I started coaching. And at the time, I had just given my life to Christ, and I didn't know my value, and I didn't know my worth. And I was one of those people that was struggling to find my way. And I found my purpose in kids. The kids loved me. They didn't judge me. They didn't know any better. They just saw the heart of me. The same way I believe Jesus sees the heart of me, and knows the heart of me. And I was able to make a change because of the love and the compassion that I was receiving from children. And so it made me want to be better. It made me want to do better, even for my family. And it's so crazy the way that all turned out, but that led to becoming a community activist, because I come from the same neighborhood that these kids are in, and the conditions, I had accepted and settled that this is the way of the world and this is what it's going to be. But working with those kids and loving these kids who love me and who counted on me, who called me coach, who called me friend, the conditions that they're living in, it was not okay for them to have to just accept it, to just settle for that. I wanted different for them, and they didn't have a voice. So that's how my community activism started, was being the voice for my community, for these children, which then in turn led to the job opportunity here. I literally was homeless for a time. A lot of people don't know that, but during the community stuff, I was homeless for a time. The gentleman that owns this company, when I made a Facebook post talking about I was needing some work, reached out, and I kind of did like a 90-day probation period, and seen that this is the exact type of work I need to be doing. It's the same thing as I'm doing already, but on a different level. During that 90-day probation period, I kept seeing the same faces come in here for the same repeat offenses, for the same thing. Like, what is causing them to do the same thing? But just someone seeing my genuine care for people, and reached out to me and gave me an opportunity to continue to genuinely care for people because they care for people. And then giving me, you had talked about the productivity of, the way people may look at this type of business not being productive.
Right.
Well, I believe that when you build a culture to support the idea or the way that you want to do business, things just run smoothly. Everybody in this office has a history. Everybody in this office is an indigenous, and I heard this the other day, and it just stuck with me. An indigenous goodness me, an indigenous missionary. Because I come from where you come from, I can relate because of experience through what you've been through. I can't learn it from a book. You can't teach me about it. I know about it because I come from it. And then to experience Jesus in the way that I experienced Jesus, and then continue to show that to other people, that just blew my mind. But he's got a culture. He started it. We've created it. We've nurtured it to where now we have 16 people in the office. There's 16 people in the office who can care for customers, to where I'm able to leave the office, even though my job is a bail bondsman. I'm able to leave the office and go out and volunteer, giving out food, go volunteer, whatever community, help people get warrants lifted, teamed up with the police. I'm able to leave the office to where we're not waiting for them to come to us. We're going out to them and we're providing and we're helping. Man, it's just been such a blessing. But that's how I got my start, was somebody seeing me care for other people and saying, man, I want him to be a part of my team to help me care for other people. And just to note on this, it's crazy because now we have 70% of all bonds in Wichita, Kansas, on bond. So that's a big number when you think of, I have 70% of the people who are going through these situations. I now have the platform to minister, to touch their lives, and to make an impact in those people's lives. 70% of, as opposed to them being, there's only 30% of people going through other companies where they might not be receiving the same care, they might not be receiving the same message, the same love, and the same compassion. So that's just, it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of that.
That's so dope. And I just want to break that down, what you just said, a little bit. So with the service mentality that your partner had there instilled in everyone else, and everybody else just took it and grew with it, a service mentality that many in the business world would look at as, okay, you spend wasted time not doing the business thing. Now you have 70% of, which is the majority of your area, your company is in essence booming or getting more business than those that might quote unquote focus on, we just need the dollar, we need another body, let's put up another poster and let them know we're a bail bonds company. The relationships, the love, it pays. And I'm talking to leaders and even potential leaders. When you stop focusing on the ends, the means to an end, and start focusing more on people, the lives that you can touch, where God is asking you to go, he'll blow up the business. Like, he'll take care of the financial stuff. And I wanted to bring more light to that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. It's definitely rewarding because we look at being good stewards, and a lot of times we think finances. But how are we being good stewards with our families, with the people that this 70% that I've been given the platform to minister to? How am I being a good steward with them, right? If I'm treating them well, if I'm caring for them well, we already know the increase is coming, and that's not the why. That's you know what I mean. But it's
a byproduct.
It's a byproduct of that. I mean, it's been awesome. We've seen, and the best part of it is you see these people who come in broken, addicted, years and years of trauma, and then they get into a sober living home, and then they get these resources, and then you see them come back in, and they come in, we do weekly check-ins, they come in, we talk, but then once they've completed their court case, and you're talking about a year and a half later, there are some that fall away, and that's just part of it.
Right.
But when you have these success stories of people who come and they're refreshed and they look completely different, like I'm the clean cut version of our company. Everybody else got face tattoos and piercings, and it's not your typical. I mean, everybody, they come from the life, man.
Right,
and so
to
see those success stories, like we have people who we had on bond that now work for the company. So it's just amazing.
That's dope. So now let me flip this a little bit, because my curiosity now is to leaders that now might look at, or not now, but they look at the repeat offenders or the offenders as, yeah, he's destined to do that. He's not going to change. He's not. And they have that mentality because they've, quote unquote, seen so many people that didn't take that option till they feel like, well, that's a choice he made and he's got to suffer the consequence for that choice. How are you able to flip, or are you able to flip those leaders' mentality, cops or other I don't know, people in higher positions that just don't want to give, people that did wrong air?
Yeah, I think just by being present and being a voice, continuing to lead by example, because there are those naysayers, there are those people who give up on people, and I'd be a liar if I sat here and said that my heart hadn't been hardened at times. Certain situations where you help a person, you bring forth every increase, every resource to watch them move forward, and they do well for a time, and then they fall away, and then they repeat, and then you still go out, and it happens, right? And we go through these cycles, and this person, I have become frustrated with the person sometimes and said, man, and I keep it real with people. You do have to be held accountable. Nothing is gonna change until Angel says, hey, you know what? I messed up. I'm erring here in these ways. I need to make a change. But that doesn't mean that you give up on people. It doesn't mean that you put up a wall and keep people out. It just means that you continue to walk with people and grow through people. But for police, I believe that that's a big organization that has a lot of people that are set in their ways. It is very difficult to change the mindset of everyone. I think it's about creating an impact on the ones that you can, and just being an example. I'll say that our police department has done a very good job at reaching out to the community and wanting better and wanting different. But it's just a process, man. If I were to, I try not to focus too much of my energy on the outside people and what their opinions might be and what their thoughts are too much. I do consider them because that's how I grow. I have to take in that information, that data, and look at it and say, okay, well, if these are the perceptions and these are the stigmas, how do I show different? I believe that I have to understand the police officer's point of view and what they see and what they go through. I have to understand the pretrial officer's point of view, the probation officers, the judge. So we actually started a project where we have identified every entity of the bail bonds process that is involved with the person while they are in the bail bonds process. So from start to finish, and what is their function? What is their belief on bail bonds? What is their belief about the defendants? What is their belief on I just want to know how they see the world. That way I can understand. So when we have a conversation, and while I'm trying to better serve my client, then I can tell them, okay, look, this is where they're coming from. This is the way they view things. And so, but this is where you are and this is where I am. So how do we navigate through those challenging moments when you feel misunderstood, when you feel that it's not a fair deal? How can we communicate and understand? So it's just, it is a process, man. There's a lot that goes into it.
Right.
And I would say that for the leaders that want to make impacts on those different, find out the data. Find out the data. How many, just for example, what I'm doing and what we're doing at the start of this year, we're keeping track of how many drug offenders we have, how many domestic violence cases that we have, how many aggravated cases, just keeping track of all of that, and where they were, what resources they needed. That way we could track the data and better serve them moving forward in the future. If I can understand my clientele on what their needs are, not just just holistically, if I can understand my clients, then I can better serve them. And if I can better serve my clients and we affect change, then the rest of the world has to take notice. Lead by that example as opposed to worrying so much about what the outside world's view is on me. I would like to accept that data and analyze that, but that's not my focus. My focus is the people in front of me.
Right. No, that's real good information. Real good, real good way to look at things. And then I also, as you were talking, I was thinking about something else. When you start talking to the police officers and the prosecutors and treating them like you're a person too, I want to hear your perspective also. It just, it shows love all the way around. It's not like, hey, this is my client. I know you're against my client and this is a fight. Let's put up our hands and see who wins. Or, you know, as long as they follow the rules, it's like, hey, you're a person too. You get frustrated. They get frustrated. How can we meet in the middle? And it's just, I think of the Bible talking about, you know, blessed are the peacemakers. And you just, on both sides, it's just like, all right, let's discuss what we're doing, what we're feeling, what's right, what's wrong, and let's come up with a solution rather than, hey, what do we need to do to make this happen? And we're done here.
For sure.
Yeah. So I really appreciate the perspective. Now, I wanted to also ask this because I know that this mentality, service first, clients first, doesn't just, you don't see just the benefits in Second Chance Bail Bonds Company. Tell me, let's talk about where you've seen benefits in other areas, just in yourself and the outgrowth of this whole thing that you do.
I would say I see me better as a father, as a husband. I mean, that'd be the area where I see the biggest growth that I've had. And just because while I'm tending and caring for my clients, the biggest skill that I've had to develop is the skill of listening. Not so much of telling somebody what they need, but when you ask the question, what is it that I can do for you? What is it that you're needing? And then to hear their response, because that, tell you something, somebody who's hurting and going through it, you're going to be able to tell what their real needs are. And when they're ready, and there's that trust there, it really comes across. But so many times we listen to respond instead of listen to just receive and understand. With my kids, we've had there's been some challenges. I have 7 kids, so there's 7 different personalities, and there's not enough hours a day to give enough attention to each and every kid and their struggles and their needs.
Right.
So when I take the time to speak with my children, to speak with my wife, to be able to decompress and say, hey, what is it that I can do to my wife? What is it that I could do to make the load lighter? Because my hours are crazy and my wife is constantly alone with the kids and carries that burden for the majority part of the time. What can I do while I'm here to better serve you and to take that in, as opposed to, because when we do have tough conversations and she's frustrated, it can come across as I'm not getting everything I need from you. And instead of me hearing it that way, I need to hear what's behind that and what she's saying. So the skill of listening to hear her through her frustration, what she's saying is, I need your help. So my response being, how can I better serve you? How can I help you? And that's just something that I'm able to exercise and practice, even with my kids, you know, when they're upset, to be able, because they're always at each other's necks, you know. We live in close proximity. They're always always at each other's necks. So I'm hearing, you know, so-and-so and so-and-so. I get to play that peacemaker role a lot in my house of, okay, what is it that happened here? What is it that happened here? Okay, let's step on out. I listen to both sides, and then I'll repeat it back to them. Hey, so just to make sure I'm hearing you clearly, this is what you said, this is what you said. And then we analyze that together. But it's developed a problem-solving skill in me that is that's still daily growing. But I would say that'd be the biggest thing that is affected is learning to listen to the client's needs has helped me to listen to the needs of my family, how to care for them better.
Nice. That's a key skill of listening. Man, I was gonna ask, you know, how did you start getting that skill? But you just said it's a process, and you know you're still building on it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, and then what's crazy is that's something that had started in me from when I started coaching football. I was having to learn to listen to the kids, because kids will tell you exactly what they want. They're not shy. They'll tell you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to hear, I was learning to, when a kid would tell me something, uh, the reason being behind it is that mom's addicted. That they would tell me their needs, but to be able to, oh, I'm starting to see things and
Right.
understand this is why why does this kid always need something to eat? Why is this kid always, because this be the few kids that would need the certain thing all the time, or the kid that would come up and hug me at the beginning of practice, hug me during practice, hug me after practice, and then you find out mom and dad are both working. There's not necessarily a drug thing going on, but both parents are working to make ends meet. The kid's left at home. This is a 10-year-old child who's raising 3 other kids below them. They don't have the affection or the care or the nurturing that's happened, and I'm their safe place, and they just need a hug. So to be able to identify those things, it's been something that's been growing, and I think that God just does those things, right? He plants a seed, and then over time, and you never even see what's happening until,
Right.
and I don't believe that hasn't even reached full growth yet. Like, we are still growing as a company. Recently, Craig Groeschel said this. I was at leadership conference last week, and he said, you can have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. And that for me was huge, because now I'm in a management setting of my bail bonds company. I'm leading a team. And so for me, because of my self-worth issues, where I come from, all those identity things, if you're not doing, then you're not worth. I've grown up in that trauma.
Yeah.
So I have a young team around me who I wasn't allowing to grow, because I was so much hands-on control. I'll do it myself. It's going to get done. I move at this pace. You're slowing me down. It's not, the customers aren't going to get the same care. But how are they ever going to learn and grow if I never allow them to exercise the things that are going to make them better on a daily basis? Letting go and letting grow is not necessarily losing control or losing. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's been amazing just to, for me to be in this space, and then Craig Groeschel to say that one simple thing, and I was like, wow, like I never would have. I was holding myself back in the leadership sense, because I got so used to being the one doing the talking and the one, and all those things, and then I kind of sat back in a role of, well, if I'm not doing those things, then what good am I? The corporate world, they're gonna get rid of me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to be able to change the perspective and look at it as, well, they're a byproduct of me allowing them to grow. So that's been a fun thing too. It's just,
Man, that just blessed me, man. Because so many, like you said, the world always like, hey, if you're not doing, something wrong with you, and you want to do everything, and once you get kind of good at it, you go, well, you're not moving at my pace, or if I don't get it done, it won't get done right, or it'll get done halfway, but not all the way. And like you said, if you don't move out the way or get a team or start teaching people, there's only but so far you can go, because you're only one person.
Yeah.
So
that's true in ministry. That's true in ministry too.
Yeah.
If you don't learn to delegate and don't learn to work with others, you're destined to burn out.
Yeah, pretty much. Man, I really appreciate this, man. So what's next for Angel? I mean, or what's the next thing?
I think the next thing is just to continue to love on the community right now. Continue to grow in a company setting, and just being dad and taking the time off to, because in this schedule, I get 15 hours a week with my family, with my kids, and that's 15 hours a week, and that's including dinner. So to be able to have the time to be with them and to be dad. I'm a bail bondsman. I'm a community activist, but I need to have time to be dad, be husband.
Right.
Just have that intentional time for intentional care and growth, because they're only kids once, man, and they grow so fast. So I want to make sure that my kids know above all else that their dad loves them. He is for them. He works hard to make sure that he's able to provide for them. But the money means nothing if there's not love. And and them looking back, I want them to know that they always came first. My wife comes first, and that the sacrifices are they're necessary, but that above all things, that it's Jesus, my family, then work, then ministry, and everything else. So.
Right. Nice. I love it, man. How can people connect with you or keep in touch or I don't even connect with the company?
Yeah, we're at secondchancebailbonds.org.
Okay.
They could check us out there. We do have a Facebook page, Second Chance Bail Bonds. We also have a Christian rap ministry, Second Chance Music. We're on YouTube, on Facebook. So I mean, we're trying to do it on all levels as much as we can, and empower others to get out there and be the hands and feet. So
that's what's up. That's cool. I don't know if you got any final thoughts or words of advice for listeners.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to other bail bondsmen out there, change is scary. Different is a gamble. But one thing that I learned is to look at things from a different perspective and say, this person's a repeat offender. These are people who live these lifestyles, but our name, Second Chance, is because we've all been given a second chance. So I would say, when you view your clients and you view people, ask yourself this question: what's the best that can happen? What is the most that could come out of this? How could I help this person change and break a cycle that's probably been going on for generations? And to anybody that's out there that feels alone, just understand that you're not alone. You do belong to a greater sense of community. First and foremost, you belong to Jesus Christ. And he is for you, and we go through challenges, but every challenge is in preparation for what he plans to bring forth in the next season. So stand your ground, stand firm. Leading is an action. It's a lifestyle. Don't conform to other people's opinions, to other people's ways and thoughts. Continue to be yourself and to grow and walk in the purpose that he has given to you, that is for you, that you were created in. Outside of that, bro, I mean, I'm super grateful and honored that you would have me on here. This is a blessing to me, bro. I feel the Holy Spirit just,
man. It's a blessing to me too. Yeah, man. This is real cool. I'm glad we connected, man. I thank you again for your time. I thank everyone else that's tuning in. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, definitely check out the links. Check out Angel. Check out the Second Chance Bail Bonds Company. If you're in Wichita, Kansas. If not, support their music ministry. It's just check it out. If you love it, support it. If you don't, send it to somebody that might love it. That's all I got to say about that. And like I always like to say, we really and truly hope that something we said here, God uses it to speak to you directly. And with that, we're out.